Let's take you out on the ice and get a first-hand look at how the Fl-18 will help you catch more fish.
Hi, I'm Dave Genz. Today we're going to do some jumbo perch fishing. But first, I'd like to thank you for purchasing the Vexilar Fl-18, the most advanced fishing electronics on the market today. During our fishing, we will show you the normal operation and the features that make it so special. So let's start ice fishing. Before we get down to the serious stuff of catching a few fish, we're going to talk a little bit about your Fl-18. This is the ice deucer. It hangs in the hole and sends and receives the signal. It's a very important part of your unit and it needs to be taken care of. Don't drag it across the ice or bang it on the floor of your fish house. As you're lowering this down the hole, you'll see there's a lot of surface clutter. To get rid of that, we need to get the transducer to the bottom of the ice. It's set up on a float system here that just slides back and forth on the cord. It has a stopper to stop it so it'll only go down so far. So set the stopper to the length of the ice. Today here we have about 3 feet of ice. So we got the stopper about 3 feet up the cord. Now as we lower this into the water, you'll see the surface clutter on the top of the unit. As we lower it down and get the float to the water, the surface clutter goes away. That's how you should properly set up your ice deucer with your Fl-18. Now that we have the transducer in the water, we're going to set the mode and the depth range. We have two choices on the mode range. It's low power and normal. The low power application is for less than 15 feet. Today we're going to use a normal application, which is the 20-foot scale on the dial, the white letters. We're going to turn it on to the 1x scale, which is reading the 20-foot scale on your dial, the white letters. And you'll see that it's reading nothing, so we'll go to the ×2, which is the 40-foot scale. We also have a ×3, ×4, and a ×10. But today, since we're in about 30 feet of water, we will use the 2x scale. And you'll see that the unit is reading about 30 feet. Now these fish are feeding on these little trout perch down there. So we're teaming it up with a minnow. We're just simply hooking it on through the back and letting the minnow do the action. These fish are belching up minnows, so that's why we're fishing with minnows today. So it's very easy. That's all we're doing is just hooking it on there like that and dropping it down, and then big perch are coming up there and just whacking it. Okay, here we are. We're going to set the gain now, but remember, we're in a normal setting and a range mode of 2. And now we're going to set the gain so that we can watch our lure sink to the bottom. Start the lure down the hole. We're going to turn up the gain until we see the lure going down. See it going down there? That's my lure that I just dropped you down. Now that's how much power I want to give it. I don't want to overpower it to give it to bring up extra clutter in there. I want to give it just enough gain so that I can see my lure clearly going down on the screen or on the dial. I'll get it down to the bottom. Now you'll see I have some fish down there. There's a fish kind of up off the bottom there. I've got my lure right in front of that fish. And he bit. You see how much fun it is when you know the fish are down there. And you'll see there's quite a few extra fish down there right now. And this one happens to be a small perch. We're just going to lightly hook the minnow through the dorsal fin. That seems what they want today. Sometimes I'll just use a minnow head or sometimes a minnow tail, but today they want that whole minnow. Again, going back down there now, you'll see the lure going down on the depth screen. And we're going to get down there towards the bottom. We're going to stop it just up the bottom, see if we can get one to come up to it. It's always a good method to get him to come up, to rise up off the bottom. Here one's coming up to it now. We'll hold it steady this time for them, kind of what they want today. You know, sometimes they want a lot more action than others. But since we're using that whole minnow today, we're kind of letting the minnow do some of the action. And there's another one. You know, a much nicer perch. You know, probably a 9-incher or so. Now you see we have the gain set at about 3, seems to be the gain we're using today. And you'll see there goes my hook down towards the bottom, going around the dial there, get it down close to the bottom, stop it up above the bottom. But a lot of times for fishing these perch, we need to fish really close to the bottom. So we'll lower our line down right next to the bottom, and you'll see that it's rather confusing and hard to see exactly where your jig is. That's why the Fl-18 was built. Vexilar built it so we could zoom in on the bottom. The AZ mode is the auto zoom. We'll switch it to that, and look what it does. It magnifies the bottom. This is the depth range, showing us that we're still in that same depth of water, but this side is the bottom 6 feet. And now there's my lure. Look how clear it is on the screen, and you'll notice them fish that are really down there right next to the bottom. They show up real well on the Fl-18. Or on the other side, over here, you really don't see much of anything. But on the Fl-18, you'll see that here's my jig, just inches from the bottom, and we can clearly see the separation. Okay, now that we have the unit set in the AZ mode, you'll see on the right side of the screen, we have the full perspective view. On the left side of the screen, you'll see the lure will show up after I get 6 feet from the bottom. Here it comes now. You'll see here I'm 6 feet from the bottom. Here I'm just coming around the dial. As I work the lure up and down, you'll see on the normal mode that it's hard to see the separation between the hook and the bottom. On the zoom side, the AZ side, look how clear you can see the lure going up and down. Will help you catch them fish that are close to the bottom. Interference can be a problem on ice fishing. It occurs when 2 sonars are placed close together, such as in an ice fishing shelter, or in this case, the same hole. It comes in many different forms, as lines all the way around the dial, flashes around the dial, or sometimes a phantom signal that appears to be a fish. The first thing to do is to turn the gain down to try to remove the interference. If that doesn't totally remove the interference, Vexilar has a patented interference rejection system that's built into the gain switch. You simply hit the switch, the 10-position switch, until you find the spot where you have the least amount of interference. And then 2 units will be able to fish side by side. What my Vexilar has taught me over the years is to move to the fish and not wait for the fish to come to me. It's also taught me to change my lures and presentation to the mood of the fish and not fish with the same lure all day if I'm not catching anything. It's also allowed me to fish through the water column, to find schools of suspended fish and catch fish in the middle of the day when most people are waiting for the sun to go down. I won't go fishing without my Vexilar. Well, there you have it. After a successful day of perch fishing, the Vexilar Fl-18 has proven why it's the best piece of fishing electronics on the market today. Summer or winter, the Vexilar Fl-18 will make you a better fisherman. I'm Dave Genz. We'll see you on the water.